I said it when my Risky is the New Safe book came out. I said it again when my Mad Genius came out, and I'm going to say it again today. We're about to enter cray times, and that is a wonderful thing. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm actually here at the Genius Network event over here in Scottsdale, actually at the Camelback Resort. And so I'm on the road. I don't have my lights and all of the tech gear, but I did want to get out this podcast and I turned the camera on anyway, so I know the lighting isn't great for you guys, but I know just there's a lot of you that really love seeing this watching on YouTube. So we're putting it up there as well. So this week, what happened? The week I'm recording this will be the week before you're hearing it. What happened? Well, the layoff numbers thrown in the last batch from Amazon was 1.1 million layoffs this year, the most we've had any time since the pandemic. Uh, the New York mayoral election happened, and a socialist won the mayor position for New York City, which it'd be, if it was a country, it would be one of the biggest countries in the world, one of the bigger ones, anyway. And so they've got Mendami elected, who's promising we're going to take over the supermarkets and regulate the prices. We're going to regulate the rent prices. The buses are going to be free and they're going to be faster. And I think the subway's going to be free, and everybody gets Disney Plus and HBO and Hulu and Netflix for free, and lots of stuff. So what is going on with that? And then what's going on with we have $45 trillion tied up in retirement accounts here in the US, and that money is not circulating. That money is sitting there. A lot of it is owned by baby boomers, and they're not going to risk their retirement fund. They're not investing in anything. They're not opening new businesses. They're not hiring people. That money is just sitting there, accruing interest for them. And it's creating quite a strain on the financial system here in the US. And of course, similar dynamics happening around the world. And then this little thing called AI, AI, AI. I'm going to repeat my prediction. I think 3 billion jobs ultimately get disrupted by AI. I do think ultimately AI will be a positive step forward for humanity, at least until and if until the robots decide to kill us. But other than that, I think it's going to be a really positive thing. And these 3 billion jobs that are disrupted are going to get people learning new skills, thinking in different ways, acting in different ways, and ultimately will make the world a more prosperous place. In the meantime, it's going to be sketchy. So be ready for it. And for all ages, it's really the next 18 months, 2 years are going to be really uh, uh, cataclysmic change. And I share all that to remind you that this is going to be wonderful for people with prosperity consciousness. This is going to be wonderful for people who see that you're living in the greatest time in human history, and that for every challenge we face, there is a corresponding opportunity available. And that's what we're in right here, right now. So Buckle up. It's going to get dicey. It's going to be a carnival ride, but it's going to be one that's going to be a lot of fun ultimately. So I wanted to put together this quick chat with you just to remind you of some of these things and talk about how I think it might be time for a vector change. And I'm going to suggest that if you really want to participate in this, one of the greatest opportunities in human history, of all the time that you could be alive and the amazing things that you could have, this would be the time. So how do you navigate through this and come through on the prosperity side? Uh, I'm going to say the vector changes, go back to school, get a new degree. And when I say go back to school, I'm particularly talking to people like me who are high school dropouts and don't have any degree. Or for you guys who are PhDs, who have 3 degrees. It's time to go back to school, but I don't mean the degreed school. I mean the real world school. And I'm going to suggest that you create your own curriculum, and the curriculum is you. That you create a curriculum of personal growth and development. And you study in 4 different areas. Area number one is just overall personal development, mind, body, and soul stuff. How can you develop new skills, gain new wisdom? Should you be taking up yoga or martial arts? Should you be learning a new language? Are you exercising your mind with Sudoku puzzles or Mensa tests or crossword puzzles or things like that? Are you attending seminars? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you taking courses? Are you reading books? And I don't just mean audiobooks, I mean physical books, reading them, because I know that makes a difference in how you really process that and can apply the information. So if you're not doing daily self-development, start with that. Second thing to study, artificial intelligence. Get a Chat GPT account, get a Claude account, whatever one you want. Start experimenting every day. For my clients, the people in my Breakthrough You cohort, the corporate consulting clients, I'm telling them if you're not using AI at least 100 times a day, then you don't get it and you're going to get left behind. And just experiment and then find some courses. And I've got an amazing one coming up that'll be in January 2026 that I'll be back together with Ford Sakes again. We'll be doing a program AI for entrepreneurs. I'll put a link in the show notes. Go to stuff like that, learn. And you know, if you're not planning on leaving the planet or retiring in the next 18 months, then you need to get involved with AI. You're not going to have a long enough runway to say, well, I can just coast to the end of my career in 5 more years and not have to worry about this. Sorry, you won't make it. You will not make it through 5 years or 4 years. So start to become a student of AI. The second area, learn to play the money game. The world is going to be richer than ever. It's going to be more prosperity than ever. But look what's happening. That money is going away from the have nots and toward the haves. That's why there's 40. What did I say? What were my numbers? I was just looking them up today, 49 trillion of 45 trillion. $45 trillion here just in the US, basically frozen for IRAs and things like that that are not really circulating the money, producing new prosperity like they would be if you're a 30-year-old entrepreneur with a dry cleaning store and you're opening up a second location, or you're a restaurant opening your 250th location, or you're just a startup entrepreneur and you're getting a band of people together and you got a vision and a dream and you got a bunch of people participating in launching something. You got to learn how the money game is played, particularly X, Y, Z generations. You guys are screwed. Your odds of buying a house are so much lower than your parents. Your odds of getting out of student debt are so much worse than your parents. Your odds of just being successful, creating financial freedom for yourself are so much worse than your parents and your grandparents. And this is the first time in a couple generations that that's been the case. So you've got to learn the money game, how it's played, and just look through my blog. I've got a gazillion posts on that. Look through this YouTube channel or the podcast show page, a gazillion shows on that. How to get out of debt, how to get out of credit card debt, how to create leverage, how to build wealth, all of those kind of things. But it starts with prosperity consciousness, by the way. That's where the self-development stuff comes in. But here's what I want you to, kind of remind yourself. If you're not smart with money, if you're financially illiterate, that means you're not smart with money. And I guarantee you, there are people who are smarter than you about money, and they are working for how to take your money from you. So you need to become financially literate. And finally, the last area of your new curriculum, if you will, is study entrepreneurship. Even if you're an employee, because I believe this, I believe you could be a janitor and you could end up as a millionaire. And we have examples, right? Those are the stories the media loved. Poor Mrs. Marple was a little school marm and she worked 45 years in her little house and she never went out and she just lived with her cat and now she died and we find out she's worth $89 million and she left $88 million to her cat and 1 million to the opera, you know. Um, I don't know that I don't like those stories because I hate people who lived in poverty and then died with a bunch of money. And if I feel like, did they really enjoy their life? Were they living their best life? Or were they just trying to sock away so much money with fear-based consciousness that they weren't really living a prosperous life? Because prosperity is about much, much, much more than money, right? Money is a very important element of it, but it's one of the elements. So I do believe you can become wealthy as a employee. I just think you can become wealthier quicker as an entrepreneur. But even if you're not of that makeup, because it's probably 1 in 20 people who are really psychologically suited to be an entrepreneur, even if you're an employee, study entrepreneurship and learn how you can be more entrepreneurial as an employee, because any employee who is entrepreneurial is valuable to their boss, to their manager, to their owners, to the stockholders, and they are the least likely to get disrupted by AI, lose their job, get laid off, any of those things. They're much more likely to get promoted and get raises and increase their earning capability. So I want you to really study that. Read the biographies of the amazing entrepreneurs. We have so many alive today, living examples of this that you can study and you can follow on social media and you can listen to their podcasts. And it's just an abundance of things. And then I'm going to get in a plug here for my Breakthrough You program, because this is basically a networking mastermind coaching program slash accelerator program. A lot of people call me the entrepreneur whisperer because I'm so good working with entrepreneurs on how to create a business and become healthy, happy, prosperous entrepreneurs. I don't mean people who are worth $80 million, but they have a terrible marriage. I'm not talking about people working worth $80 million, but their kids won't speak to them. I'm not talking about somebody making $80 million, but they're two cheeseburgers away from a heart attack and stroke and being on a diabetic coma. I'm talking about healthy, happy, and prosperous. And that's the Breakthrough You program. I'll put a link for that in the show notes as well, but just, randygage.com. Click on the PDF, it's the free PDF about the 7 elements of an abundant life. If you haven't read that, read that to start. And then go to the section about Breakthrough You and study that. And there's 3 different areas. If you're absolutely broke, you're mired in poverty, go in at the apprentice level and learn how to create prosperity consciousness, learn how to add value. If you're out there, you're making moves, you're growing, but you haven't broken the $1 million a year income yet, then come in at the alchemist level, and that'll help get you over that $1 million hump. And then if you got the multi-million-dollar thing out of the way, but you want to scale and you want to be worth billions or hundreds of millions, or you've got the money thing out of the way, but you don't have the health or you don't have the relationships, you don't have the spiritual sustenance, we work on all those areas in the program. So new cohort starting January 1st, 2026. I really want you to be in it. I know it will transform your life. All right, that's all I got for this week. I need to get back to the event, but I did want to take out this time and share these thoughts with you. I'll be back next week with a new show. Until then, love you guys. Peace.